X. Yeah, so what I'm seeing is a lot of stuff came down yesterday, hit some big areas, bounced, and now it's revisiting. Market is sitting on a knife edge for me right now. I mean, we've got 29,100 on BTC, relatively flat. Dominance is pumping. These alts are getting absolutely rinsed. But seeing supports playing out here. So some of them have lost supports, but the ones I'm looking at, GMX, DYDX, Solana, Link. There's loads we got sitting on areas that are interesting. I see we've got David here as well. So hopefully David's got some banger trades for us. I'm hoping you still short DYDX or you cleaned up on that one. So yeah, Dave, what have you got going on?
Yeah, I'm still holding it. Yeah, holding the shorts. I mean, not on the comp account, but big profits on that 88 short that we talked about last week, where it came out of that wedge, basically did a retest, and now it's already at 27 cents. Crazy, but that's just how the charts play out. Saw your update, so it looks like there's another level down there.
Yeah, so ADA looks like it could go lower, huh? Yeah. But a lot's going to depend on where we are now. So guys, let's pull up the BTC chart. Craig, is Jay here?
Yeah, he is. I'm just trying to grab him. Well, I saw he was in the waiting room, so maybe he's not being made co-host. So let me try and find him. I don't know who's managing that, but if you could just make Jason co-host.
Yeah, he's not co-host yet. There we go. There we go.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Jay.
What's happening?
How are you, sir?
All good, all good.
Bring us some of the fatherly hope, Jay.
I'm here for moral support, okay?
Just tell us what's going on with Bitcoin. We need to know. We need to know.
Follow the stock
It's
market,
so flat.
Follow the stock market, and what drives the stock market is the 10-year yield, which is at resistance and seems to be coming down. So I think we should have a bounce now in the stock market, and then that should bring the crypto market up once again.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, when you say something like that, and then I look at some of these altcoins, they're sitting on support. So, and we're seeing almost reset RSIs on 4-hour. I'm seeing regular RSIs also quite far down. So parts of this is telling me, we shouldn't be too bearish now at this stage. We should have been more bearish yesterday, for example. But yeah, it looks like a possible reversal coming. I'm looking at your stock market chart now. I see we closed that one gap, the 4440. Are you going to show us some BTC there, Jay?
No, I'm going to rely on you today.
Okay, it's fine.
Let me that even is going up, Dolly's Casper, that I can see anyway.
It's my nemesis, that thing.
I know. You spoke about it this morning, and that was the place, bro.
Like I told you, I'm having a break. I'm having a Casper break.
It was the spot, eh? We up since we spoke 4.5%.
No, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Guys, look, I personally found things quite challenging. I got stopped out a couple of times, so it hasn't been an easy ride. I don't know what you guys have been up to. I didn't, unfortunately, get the render short, which rejected exactly where we said it was going to reject, not the render, the room. DYDX, I didn't get it. At least I can live through Dave, because David got the short. So yeah, it hasn't been an easy ride. Right now I'm looking for some good areas for a bounce. So this is the S&P 500, Jay.
I think you should start on the 10-year yield. Start on the 10-year yield on the weekend. You see we had resistance, hit resistance yesterday, and the 10-year yield has retraced. So that is telling me that the stock market should possibly come up today.
Sure.
What ticker do you use, Jay? This 10-year note.
US10Y.
US10Y.
One word. US10Y. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Okay, cool. Wow, that thing's pumping.
Okay, we
Okay,
had
so yeah, I
resistance.
see what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's have a look here. Okay, so big resistance area, definitely a fight on the cards. If it breaks through that, I mean, things will get spicy, but let's assume that it's going to play out normally and reject at a big resistance zone. Yeah, so Jay sort of moved back to this trend, I would assume. It's probably a safe guesstimate here.
Yeah, guys, don't forget
Jay,
FOMC minutes tonight, guys. So just be ready, eh? It's 8:30 or something. I'm getting the time now, but it's tonight. It is 8 p.m. our time, so that's 10 a.m. Eastern. No, 2 p.m. Eastern. So just be aware of those.
So you see some previous highs there next to the current highs that are a bit lower. I would imagine that would be the next support area. A bit lower, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so some kind of pullback here would be nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, ideally we want something like that, a rejection there, and then we see what happens in that sort of region. Let's go SPX here again. So yeah, interesting that now we're just following the whole, everyone's following everyone now. Decoupled for a while, but now things turn a bit sour everywhere, and we're back to tracking this the S&P and BTC together. Here's the gap, Jay, that got filled.
That's the gap that got filled.
Yeah, so now if there is a recovery, I would say we would still look for this gap up here to get taken out before maybe another move lower. So let's keep our eyes on this. And talk to me about BTC, Jay.
BTC, I would imagine back up to sort of 29,600 around there. 29,500, sorry.
29,500, yeah. Okay, so let's zoom in a little bit. I mean, this range has just been terrible. Look how they're taking out longs and shorts all day long, and it's just wrecking the alts everywhere. So you like this region there. That's the same one where we got that fake out the other day.
Yeah. I would say that is an area that.
Yeah, there's a nice picture. Okay, so
rejection.
yeah, so we were quite happy the other day. Broke up, sat down here. We took some positions, and then unfortunately it rinsed us over there. Then they tried again the other day. We got rinsed. Okay, so let's pay attention to that. Here's our current low, 29,040. Dave, I know you watch BTC a lot as well. What are you seeing there? What are your levels that you're looking at?
Yeah, so it actually just hit the 29,000 region here. Notice the bounce, but if we lose 29,000, I'm looking for a potential bounce at 28,803.
Yeah, so that would be this region here.
Yep, that was a previous swing failure level back in August.
Sort of zone, right? Yeah.
August 4th and then August 7th. Quite a bit of swing failures there actually around the beginning of August where we got, yeah. So if that doesn't hold, then we're going to go much lower, I think, down to that potential 27 that everybody's talking about. It's just how is it going to play out, where the bounce is going to be. So I've got alerts set on 28.7 or 28.8 area and then the 29. So I would recommend setting your alerts there. If your alerts go off and you're looking at the Bitcoin chart and it's sitting there and it's holding and it's having a hard time going much lower than that, and that's probably the signal to start some long positions on some of these alts that are at some good areas that you're pointing out.
So, I mean, right now, what we can see is we've got a new low on the 1 hour. So we want this to recover quite quickly to maintain this move here for these alts. This is the lows I'm talking about here, these guys. So we've got this new one now. So we want to see this thing start making its way up quite urgently. If we reject here, yeah, I agree. We've got a story to deal with down there. Okay, so let's play yeah, let's play with what we're seeing in front of us. We're seeing BTC holding. So let's just start going through some of these alts that I have in front of me. Guys, Dave, obviously jump in. Bruce, jump in when you need to. Jay, Craig. I'll just talk you through what I'm seeing on the ones on my screen. And guys, drop in the chats if you have anything specific you want me to look at. So this is DYDX 8 hour. It started falling very hard and it's pinged the 618. So just a typical reaction at the 618. We checked in with Lux Algo on this one, and apparently it's not done. It's not ready for longs yet. So, you know, potentially a short-term bounce in play now. So I wouldn't jump in now. It's already moved up a few percent. Let's have a look here. So moved up 1%, so not too bad. Okay, so DYDX hit its level. Decent reaction. Now, if this area gets lost, these are the bounce zones. And we're going to tie these in with BTC losing these areas or shifting down to those levels we just looked at there with David. So 1.97. And then the low, you're going to see Render tested this low already now. So this is 1.9 for DYDX. Render dumped into this low. Look at that. See that low there? Came down very hard. Decent bounce here now on Render. So, but this was a hell of a dump, hey guys. Did anyone catch this Render short? 11%. Okay, that was huge. And then, you know, a typical retest of these lows in play. So the regular RSI needs to come down some more, I would say. It almost feels like a premature bounce here to me. But areas of resistance to watch. Let's see where our 382 is. Now there's a 382 there. It depends how bearish things are, but you know, 382 is normally a nice sort of zone to look for. So, you know, if we're looking for shorts, we kind of want to scope out this area on the 382 if it pushes up into that. And then support for now would be these lows here. Okay. AVAX. We knew a move was coming, didn't we? We were saying something was going to happen here. We just didn't know up or down, but here it goes. Just absolutely dumped. Look how beautifully that pinged the 786. And decent push up, now retesting. So, you know, I'd call the support again until proven otherwise. And then you might see a situation like we saw there with Render now, a possible retest of those wicks. So just keep your eyes on that. If we get a recovery bounce, the best play is to look for a rejection around the trend. You can see it generally just follows the trend. So if you are long on AVAX from down here, that would be sort of your rejection area or your TP zone. And that's assuming now the market's going to give us some kind of relief rally while we turn up. Okay, Link, we got this little channel. We just lost this 200-day MA. We checked in with Simon and Lux Algo, and he kind of liked Link the most out of some of the ones we looked at. It is sitting in the middle of an order block as well. So this is the 8-hour Link. So I've got a 200-day and I've got an order block here. We've got this trend. We have lost the 382, which was sitting in that region. So yeah, just be careful here. I wouldn't stay around much longer, much deeper than that. So this will be one of the tightest stops in history. But yeah, there were certain factors showing us. We like the order block. Craig, I'm assuming you like this order block on the 8-hour as well. And then our next area for Link is this sort of region here. So you can see the order block tying in, and this would have been a fib here, the 6.1 to 6.2 is another region for us. If we get some kind of recovery bounce now and the market decides to move up, there's a 618 here, which plays in nicely with this horizontal over there. Okay, so that's an area I'm watching for a rejection. Obviously it can come earlier. It can come with 382. So let's look at that. So there's a 382 as well. So watch these zones here for rejections. 7.1 and 7.3. And if the market decides to just dump lower, this is your next zone, 6.2. And remember, I mean, these things happen so fast, guys. I mean, this AVAX dump, for example, if you were waiting, you would have got that bounce off that 786. It's hard to pick up unless you're in front of your screen. Here's injective. So I spoke about this one earlier today. Lux Algo didn't agree with this area yet either for a long. So I have highlighted loads of new areas to watch, because again, we don't know what BTC is going to do here. If it starts dumping harder, we need to take note of these areas. Okay, if we get a recovery bounce, I would say this is a fair region to look for some kind of recovery bounce. But if things drop lower, we're still dealing with a 200-day down here, so it's another few percent. So just keep your eyes on this, because I mean it's another 10% move, which could be, in the current conditions, could be BTC just sneezing a little bit, and giving us a 10% dump on the alt. So next area, 6.3 for a bounce if it doesn't recover here. But it might also just be a tiny little bounce because we've got this trend sitting there. So just play it carefully, obviously. But we're looking at that probably at best right now. And then, if it breaks through, the drill, we wait for that retest. And then you can be long there. But yeah, right now it's all about areas where these things might settle or react. If this current macro situation doesn't get much better. The graph GRT, tracking this one down, I think it's got more to go. Potentially come down here again before it bounces. So look out for that. This is resistance there. So if it does kick off from here, you can look for shorts probably in that region. It's trend and it's horizontal. Let's see what fibs we have here. 618 there. So that's quite a strong area, this horizontal 618 trend. So look for rejections there. Rune. Is anyone short Rune? I did drop this on Twitter, and I didn't get it. So it's very frustrating to watch. But here's the big rejection we're waiting for. When's it going to stop? Let's look. This is the 12-hour now. So here's the 200-day. It's quite an easy one. Let's look for a fib here. Those aren't tying in so well. Let's look at some horizontals. So guys, I mean, this Rune situation, does it continue or is the news done now? Craig, do you know much about what's going on here with Rune? Are we still looking for longs?
I don't see Craig. I think he's gone.
I'm here. Sorry, I'm here, but I've got to jump. Sorry, I've got partners to go look at. Dylan, Rune and H-bar to me are the only two bullish tokens out there. I mean, I know when I looked on Bybit, the only double-digit gain today was a coin that we haven't even looked at is Bluezell, and then Casper. I mean, and then the one that you should bring onto your radar, Bill, is Side, because it's on. They launched the blockchain yesterday, so Side is on. So we need to start watching that one because I think we might see some decent movement there.
Up or down?
I don't know. That I can't tell you.
So I got a message from somebody. I got a message from someone here in the office. I won't mention any names, but someone in the office messaged me and said, "I'm shorting this side thing for the Bybit competition, looking for entries." So we need to actually deal with this. Let's see. Yeah, not enough data for me right now. I think we need to let this thing sweat a little bit and see where it ends up. But some of the guys are quite bearish on it.
Casper's starting to get very overextended now on the 15-minute. So, I don't know, it just keeps going up. I mean, as I say, literally where we looked at it this morning was the bottom.
Oh no, it's a killer. It's an absolute killer, this thing.
And I think H-bar, we've got to find that entry.
Yeah.
On the H-bar, looking on the 15-minute. But order blocks, unfortunately, were much lower down. But it seems bullish, this token, man.
Okay, so how do we deal with this cash? Let's look at this. Okay, new trend in play.
Yeah.
So let's look. Yeah, right now, this is technically a resistance zone, and it was before. It was major resistance before. So let's see how it plays out here. Yeah, if you have this in front of you and you're watching it, maybe move down to the 1 hour, the 15 minutes, like Craig is saying, and you can try and play this break. Because this CAS moves very quickly, obviously. But I'm semi-retired on CAS. I need to give it some time. Okay.
Can't give up so fast, but
Just on CAS.
so
Okay, so watch that.
H-bar,
That's
if you
probably a
look at
good
the last
plan.
move on H bar. I know you're on CAS, but I've got to run. But on
Yeah.
H bar, just on the last 15-minute move drop, we hit the 618. So that's interesting. So I think there might be something there. Yeah, but you got to drop your time frames by 15 minutes. No more of this.
Okay. So yeah, it's just nice to see it does behave. Okay, so 618 rejection. That's nice. Let me just allow me to zoom out for a second. Hold on. I just want to see what's going on there. Okay. I'm just trying to get a picture first before we dive in. Okay, so we had the 618 rejection. I want to just pull this one. Okay, so yeah, interesting. It kind of moved between two FIDs, and this move was perfectly off a 618, that one. And we didn't get the perfect pullback this time. It actually went deeper. Okay, so let's zoom in here.
That's the one I want you to look at. So take from the
Yeah,
bottom
so
to that
let's
top.
let me
Yes.
clean this up. Okay, so yeah, we've zoomed in 15 minutes now, guys. There's your 618.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can see there's some horizontal there.
This could be the start of another move up.
Okay, so a potential level to watch if you're a fan of H bar. At 618, there is horizontal there. This is for the scalpers, though. This is 15 minutes, guys. So remember, these areas don't hold or don't react the way the bigger time frame areas do, but it doesn't mean they don't react. It's all the same thing. It's just a smaller scale. So yeah, watch this one.
A 6.8% move, I reckon, to the order block above us. That's,
Okay, and you on the
that's
15
nice.
minutes. What order block size? Oh, that one, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so
And the order block hasn't been mitigated yet, so we could go and tap it once more,
yeah, okay, and then there's an order block down here. So if we lose
that's
that
the
area,
problem. That's the problem. So you got to try and
okay.
stop there. No, that's okay, but you can have a tight stop.
Yeah. So I mean, you play the 618 the same way. We play on the bigger time frame, and we zoomed in. So obviously your stops get tighter. This is about 1%. So see if you can get it deeper. If you want to take something like that, and then potential if we lose this, potential bounce zone here
Yes,
into that
100%.
15-minute order block, and
Absolutely.
then watch out down here. 200-day MA is just sitting there. Okay.
Yeah. So, Dill, I know this is hard for you stepping down to that time frame, Brew, but it's the only way I can see to make money at the moment.
No, you know what? In these conditions, the guys making money here are the scalpers like you, who are watching these order blocks and watching these moves. Bruce, I'm assuming things are going well for you this in the last couple of hours as well. I'm keen to hear about Thomas.
Yeah, all I've been doing is scalping. Nothing else lasts
Well,
so long.
I've got to jump, but I've got to go and see this property.
Okay.
Just answering
No,
Brett's.
that's cool.
I don't know if the order block's been mitigated. The order block will disappear. So candle closes below the order block, it'll mitigate and it will disappear. Okay, but I've got to jump.
Okay, cool, man.
Thanks,
Later. So yeah, guys, again, I'm just going through coins that now are in front of me. I've been updating the Discord, putting levels in here, stuff's in front of me. OP. Bearish scenario is a bounce here in this horizontal area. The market moves up, we get a relief rally, and then the rejection at trend. So that's something I'm looking for on OP. And you can see there's a 382 there. So it could be a nice short opportunity. So what I'm saying is generally when you lose a trend like this and we get a bounce, you can't get like too bullish. You need to start looking for these opportunities where we can short these areas, because a lot of this is relief rallies and they're taking out the late shorters, and and it pushes up, and then we can find an area to look for it. And I mean, we've done this exercise before with you guys, but if we invert the scale, what are we looking at? We're looking at almost an inverse head and shoulders here. Okay, so if we were bullish and we wanted to be long, we'd say look out for the rejection here, wait for the pullback, then we're going to long this guy over there. All right. So this is OP inverted chart. So let's turn it back around. And there it is there. So that's the type of thing we need to look for. So when the market's bullish and it breaks a trend, we go and we wait for the retest and we go up. When it's bearish and it loses a trend, same story. Retest, and then you can look for your entries. Here's GMX. Got stopped on this one yesterday too. I mean, how's this candle? So my TP was up here. I was looking at 48. I was just trying to front run this area a little bit. Didn't make it. And then we had this massive reversal. So now it's on support from early June, but there is more to this. There's deeper levels here on GMX. So I'm a little bit wary of GMX. Remember, it's a DEX and it's an exchange, and they make money from trading. And if things are falling over and people aren't trading, whatever, it would make sense that they're not making money, and their price might drop. So there's lower regions here. So guys, if you want to be long GMX, just be very careful here. Okay, this is a support, but there's more going on down here. Let's see where these order blocks are. It's a massive order block. This is the daily. If this thing wants to sweat through this order block, though, it's a big move. You know, it's a 7% down to that low. So just be careful there. Okay, here's Carver. I know there's a few people in the chat that trade Carver. I mean, it's funny. Once again, we're hitting these levels we actually didn't think we were going to hit. And here it happens, just like that. AVAX did it, Carver did it, here we are. So, you know, if you were saying to yourself, that's an area I want to buy Carver, well, here it is, you know, especially if you low leverage or you spot, this is a support zone that we identified ages ago. You can see why, you know, we like this stuff. We like these bounces here. Next area, we're going to look for these wicks down here. But again, just play it area by area. Let's see what type of relief bounce we get out of this. Let's look at the 4-hour stock. Very oversold. So, you know, if this 4-hour stock was very overbought and we are sitting at resistance, we would say, hey, maybe now is not the time to be longing. Okay. Now the inverse is here, we're sitting on support and the RSI is oversold, and maybe now's not the time to be short on support, if you know what I'm saying. So based on what we're looking at, big support, reset for our RSI. So things are starting to maybe sway like 55, 45 to maybe some kind of relief bounce in the interim. Let's look at the size of the relief bounce if we get one. Okay, the full move would be the whole range, but that would be asking for a hell of a lot. Best way to do it is to pull your fibs. And let's identify where we might get some time with fibs and some horizontals. So over there looks good. So that's kind of a 382. If Jackie was here, he'd probably pull out the 0.5. Let's do it for Jackie. Let's put the 0.5 on. Okay, so, you know, anywhere in this sort of range, expect some kind of rejection. If things are ultra bearish, you can even pull out the 236. You know, when we've been long, sometimes when we've got these pumps from Rune and H bar, you pull the 236 for that because it doesn't pull back all the way to the 382. So yeah, look out for those areas. So render we've covered. ALGO. Again, a support bounce. How big? We need to wait and see. Let's pull out the stop. So it's reset once, and you know, we've often said before, you get that initial move, then you get the next one. So that is a concern to look out for. You sometimes get that little double bottom on the RSI. But what's in front of me? support for now. And then the next obvious area is the wick low, which you saw render hit that one. Okay, so use area, push back up, becomes resistance. That could be a short opportunity. If we have a bounce, a relief bounce, if you don't see horizontals, well, here's some over there. Sorry. Just mark that. So this would be a area of interest for resistance. Okay, so 382, I like. There. So relief bounce, look out for a rejection in that area at least. Could be sooner on a 236. Otherwise, lose this area, let it panic buy, everyone will buy, push it back up, becomes resistance again, and then you can look for that short. Yes, comp. I mean, this was hilarious actually. We were looking at this one the other day saying, yeah, it's quite interesting. You know, it formed this little double bottom and it managed to that dip the other day and it wasn't looking so bad. And I was actually for a second there thinking it wasn't going to come back to this entry, but the crypto gods came and they've said, here we are. So this is a big area for comp. It's a 618 and it's a 200-day MA. So I like the odds on a bounce here. I really do. Let's look at the stock. Okay, so stock is hit the bottom on the 8-hour. I just want to look at the 4-hour. My screen's just frozen. Okay, I've just lost my entire screen. Bruce, do you want to hit us with Tomo quickly while I get
Sure.
these charts back up here? Or
Sure,
Dave,
why
you
not?
obviously either one of you there. Apologies,
Yeah.
folks.
Dave, do you want to go first? Or,
It doesn't matter. It's
okay,
up to you.
so, hold on, because you'll notice I'm on the 5-minute here. So, after realizing the market was really a crapshoot yesterday, even Tomo didn't make it back up to the range high, got really flaky here, and then only made it partway back up to the middle of the range. And then I saw that everybody was getting stopped on everything. I decided to go, instead of trying to catch a move, I decided to try and catch the middle of the move by scalping. So what I did is I looked for at least a small move, and I did it on Tomo because I know it pretty well. So down here, I noticed that we're starting back down. And what I did is I just did a series of scalps in here. So and no indicators, just a trend line break, break of the trend line and rejection from the break of this trend line, rejection from that trend line, catch up 2 to 3%, wait for it to do it again, pick up another 1.5%, wait for it to do it again, pick up another couple percent. What I'm looking for is, instead of catching a whole move, I realize that move is where these reversals happen, where you lose half the profit that you've been making. So I simply am trying to capture, instead of capturing the whole move, I'm simply trying to capture sort of the 80, middle 80, 60, 70, 80%. And as long as the market's behaving like it's doing right now, that's what I'm going to be doing.
You're
What's
a bit
that?
of a beast, eh? Sitting there, you're a bit of a beast, sitting there scalping like this. I like it.
Well, it's including myself. I had a rune trade that went okay. So I did a long when everyone did a short. But what I did with it was I'm listening to everybody talking, like everybody, including myself, is getting screwed. So instead, my normal trade would have been to take this to the top of the range, because that's what it was doing there. Instead, I looked at a local area right here and said, I just set my expectations really low, right? I said, look, if I can capture this, well, this turned out to be a little bit low, right there, 7%. If I can capture a little bit of this move, let me get out before it gets crazy. and let me get in after it gets crazy. It was healthier, but that was when I saw this, and I was expecting really to. Everybody was going, "Oh, you missed out on this move." It was like, screw it. Look what had happened right after that. Right, that's the move that tanked everybody.
How cool was that pump yesterday that we caught though?
No, it was really great. This was a great
That
setup.
Bybit wick was not great though.
No,
If you guys saw the Bybit chart, this is Binance. The Bybit chart actually came and wicked down in the matter
the
of
way
1
down.
minute.
Yep.
All the way down below that 618. So the Binance chart looks very nice, but the Bybit came and took people out.
Yeah, Mexi didn't wick down like that, so I survived on that. But that when I saw that, that's when I realized that trying to get normal 1 hour, 4 hour moves in this market was just going to be an exercise in frustration and futility. So until things settle down, I'm just going to scalp where I find a move like this right here, right? Like on Rune, where you got on the 15-minute, you got some kind of movement, and then break it down into bite-sized chunks, like move 1, move 2, and see if you can get 1 or 2 scalps on it. It's safer, you're risking less.
How many stops are you hitting? How many stops are you hitting per successful trade on average when you're scalping, just roughly?
I get stopped out 30% or so, 30-40%. But they're small, right?
Okay, so
because my stops on the scalp, and we come back to Tomo, my stops on the scalp are, I mean, this is an indicator because I actually don't, when I'm scalping, I don't set it up on TradingView. I set it up inside the exchange. But this one was like, probably closer to like 0.6%. This was 0.6%. This was 0.5%. So with stops like that, you get stopped out, but you lose next to nothing, and you can pretty much enter right away again as long as it doesn't break. When you're scalping a channel like that, you're going to do it until it does that, right? It'll break it. It did it right there. I missed it. I didn't do that scalp because it was after bedtime. But you'll do it. Get little misses, and then boom, price will revert. You'll have one trade. But to me, it's always been pretty obvious when the scalping trend is over. So
yeah.
I
mean, look, if you've got,
I was going to say the way I like to think about it is when you get a foot-long sandwich, you can't shove the whole thing in your mouth, right? So all you need to do is just cut it up into bite-sized pieces and chew.
Nice. So guys, I see in the comments we weren't the only ones that got smashed. I mean, that setup on Rune yesterday was actually epic. It was a classic example of what I love. That pullback on a 618 horizontal trend, and it blew up. It was amazing. And then Bybit came and ruined the party, unfortunately.
Yep.
And
Yep. By the way, Dale, the number of people that I saw on Discord got nailed by that, and they didn't have their stops in place, right? Hey, it's moving the way I want it to move. They're pretty confident, and they got wrecked because no stop loss. So everybody, hint.
Yeah. So what happened to me was once we pushed up, I mean, we're up whatever 3-4%. I put my stop just above entry, and I looked back a few minutes later on the Binance chart, and it was flying, and I thought, oh, well, this is great. And then I went back to look, and I'd been stopped up. So very frustrating, guys, because those are the type of trades we love, those pullbacks on a bullish token on the 618. I mean, you can't get better than that. So it was a bit of a shame, unfortunately. I've got Dave. Do you want to show us a couple of things there?
Here, hold on, let me unshare. Go for it, Dave. Buddy.
Yeah, let's do it. You see this?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that injective pump right now. What is up? Yeah, so I'm in an injective long. Cool. So I guess we can start off with injective. It was a few weeks ago where I had called this short, and we went right through this order block here, kind of looking at this potential descending triangle or potential breakout. We're at the 618. A lot of support here. So 618 support. I thought it was a good trade here to go long. Wrote it down. Now we're trying to write it up. Right. So if Bitcoin has its, it's been playing games. It's been going down to 29, going up to 30, 31, going back down. So if we're going to play that game again, where we're going to bounce at 29, even at 28.8 that we talked about, the scenario, I think is, there might be a wick here to try to stop out the early longs before it does the breakout. So with that being said, I'm ready to add more if it comes down here. If you are brand new and you want to play tight stops, maybe 7x leverage entering now, it would give you the 20% stop loss on whatever your risk management strategy is. I think it's pretty straightforward with injective.
Yeah, I like the injective area, and unfortunately the Lux algo didn't agree with me. But yeah, I mean, I said it earlier today on that show as well. Injective I like. 618 trend. There's some horizontal stuff there. The only downside is it didn't quite ping the 200-day MA, which you've got on your screen there, 6.2. So it is something it's something to be aware of, guys. There is still a potential 10% downside there to the 200-day if BTC goes south. But yeah, Dave, I like it. I like injective.
Yeah, I mean, we have this one, let's see, horizontal line right here. That was a low back in June, quite a while ago. But, I think low leverage, maybe adding another order here. This looks like it's going to hold. But if Bitcoin goes to 27K, then yeah, we're probably going to see this region down here, which if you have tight stops, get stopped out, look to re-enter when there's a crazy red wick and have your alert set. I might even set an alert down here.
So are you going to stay? Are you going to leave this one open with a buy lower down? Is that your
personally? Yeah, this is where I'm going to do the buffer thing that I've talked about with injective. I mean, just look how much have we fallen here? We've fallen pretty. I could imagine there's a lot of shorts that are going to get wrecked. So you want to be on that other side there when the shorts get wrecked. And look, I mean, everything else is bleeding crazy and injective is holding strong here. That's another thing I pay attention to, is comparing the other ones that are bleeding. DYDX held up pretty strong a couple weeks ago, but injective is holding its own here, right? So that lets me know that if Bitcoin does reverse here, it's going to be a nice play. The other thing too is
Dave, I just want to get everyone on that point. How Dave goes around looking, he doesn't just randomly, pick his favorite. You look at a few and you look how they're reacting and how they're holding versus other else, right?
100%. I'm always scanning. So that's another part of building that intuition. You'll start to see common patterns. And that's why we were talking about last week. Yes, I made a couple attempts on the rune short, but when we were all together last week on Monday and we were identifying that rune short, the thing that kind of, and I even told you, Dylan, I don't know if you recall, but I was like, man, this rune is tripping me out. I'm getting out. And I got out early enough to where, it would have been much more severe of a loss, but rune was holding its own while everything else was bleeding. Bitcoin was going down while rune was holding its own. So that was like, get out. That's where you get out. And you have to pay attention to those small percentage moves, right? Because again, if Bitcoin's going down 1%, these other coins are bleeding 2 or 3%, and then Rune or whatever token, HBAR, is only going down, 0.2%. When Bitcoin starts going up, that thing is going to rocket, right? So that could also be another trigger to go long.
If the market is moving down, don't try and short the super bullish coins. the easier play is to take the boring ones, the ADA, AVAX, those sort of things. You kind of know, we know the levels, let them just bleed out. The bullish ones, you don't know what's going on there. You don't know how the market's going to treat it. And Rune was a great example. I mean, during that dump, Rune carried on.
It really is. I mean, a good analogy, guys, is imagine you're in the casino and you've mastered blackjack and you know how to play, how to read the cards of your card counter or whatever. That's kind of like what we are with these trade setups with certain tokens like ADA, and we know the safer plays. But Rune was like going to the roulette table and saying, let's go short, right? And you just don't know how it's going to play out. And unfortunately, a lot of people got wrecked. But if it plays out, cool. But at the end of the day, it's a gamble. And in this type of environment, with us being traders and snipers, we should be more focused on accuracy and higher percentage chances and things like that. So yeah, render was another one. I was actually invited by Kyle to be on his show this past Saturday. Stayed up till like 2 in the morning. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I did not modify this drawing here. This was actually when the show was going on. Let me get rid of this clutter here. None of this had appeared here, right? So I told him, hey, look, if we come down here below this order block, that's where I'm going to look to long it. That actually played out yesterday, and that's why I entered render as well, right? So if you guys are wanting to play safer stops, then you're going to need to use lower leverage. From where we are right now to this wick down here, 3%. So again, 7x leverage maybe at your stop right here. I think that's pretty safe risk to reward. And then going up to the top of this little trend line here, typically we'll see something like this, or not so much that, but maybe something like this, and then it goes down here, and maybe we'll see the break here, or maybe we'll see the break here, and then again, if the $27,000 Bitcoin scenario plays out, then we're going down here, and that's kind of like no man's land. So do I think render's going to hold? I personally think so, because it's a very bullish coin. It's just, and think about how many shorts are building up here. All these short, oh my God, it's going down. Render's no longer great. Think about how many people are freaking out, selling here and shorting here. And what does the market like to do? Likes to surprise them. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see some crazy God candle like this. So
look, we know what render can give us, and that's what's one of my sort of go-to tokens that I like to jump into as well. And injective as well. It's a good mover when it gets going. It's a great one to be in. You saw me trading AVAX the other day. So boring, didn't do much. Good movers. Render, injective. What else? What else are the nice ones? The recovery ones. DYDX actually often pumps nicely.
So I entered right here. I had talked about this on the show also with Kyle, but I was looking for more of one of these movers where it'll go, and I'll see it all the time with the Lux ALGO, is it'll pierce through the order block and hang out for like a few hours, right? Which I guess it gives it time for all the people thinking it's a breakout, it's a long, trap the longs, and then write it down. But it basically stopped at this resistance block here. It didn't go quite as high. If you guys recall, I think it was like 3 weeks ago, I shorted DYDX up here, posted it, and then seeing it come back out here, it's kind of like an easy setup. And then I saw this rising wedge. So the potential target, if we're going down to 27,000, I'm still holding my short, could be here at 188 at this level here, and then for a potential bounce up, right? So maybe down here it's bouncing, comes down here. That could be a scenario. But if Bitcoin holds and we're going now to 30,000 with this swing failure pattern here, right? Because this is what I'm looking for. We're looking for this or looking for this, right? If this does not hold, like, cut your shorts, right? So with that being said, yes, this is nice here, the 618. So there could be this potential bounce with DYDX. It's already bouncing a little bit. Just monitor it. You may even see something like this. It comes back in and then goes to take out the early longs here, right? So something to pay attention to. If you don't want to enter DYDX yet, again, take advantage of these alerts that TradingView has. Set an alert like at the top of this green box here, and then maybe at the bottom of the green box here. Because again, if this is a support block, again, Lux Algo, and what I've noticed with the market is that it will like to go past the order block, stopping at all the people that have their limit orders, hang out for a little bit, and then go.
Mhm. Hey,
So,
David,
David, please explain why somebody's asking
Yes.
why you use
Heiken
those
Ashi,
candles, the
yeah.
Heiken Ashi candles. Just explain the benefits and why you use it, please.
so Heiken Ashi candles, I learned this from CryptoFace. For me, it's just more of identifying when the trend changes a bit. So, for example, I like to use it with the Keltner channels. So the other thing I was training or taught you guys about the 15-minute, like whenever the Keltner channels, when it pierces through the blue blocks, it goes down, like not really seeing a pierce here. It was a small pierce right here, went down. But it also works when it goes down, when it goes below the Keltner channel. So one thing I just saw here is draw here, right? So you see it, how it pierced through the blue Keltner channel. Now it's bouncing. So we might see something like here, pierce to the blue Keltner channel and go down. So this helps me with the scalps. But back to Heiken Ashi, you can see I'm kind of noticing the color changes where if it's not Heiken Ashi, regular candles, it's just random for me. I can't really see where the trend shift could potentially be.
Mhm.
So let me see if I can find a coin that can maybe show a good example. Let me get rid of these Keltner channels. Yeah, like it just helps me for visually. So you can see here it's just red. Or if we go to regular candles.
So what's your trigger? You've got the red. Then I see there's two greens there. What's your trigger to sort of jump in on a trend change? When do you decide the trend has changed?
Yeah, so again, it's based on Bitcoin here, but let's just take Injective, for example. It's just red, it's red, and then you start to see these two green ones here. That may have been my trigger there if I had not entered Injective yet. Maybe this is a better example.
When you actually go to enter the trade and set up everything, do you actually switch to regular candles to get accurate pricing, or do you actually leave the Heiken Ashi on?
Personally, I leave the Heiken Ashi on.
Okay.
I'll switch to candles for kind of copying the charts that Dylan set up. But it's like I always go back to it's like I always go back to Bitcoin. I look at the Keltner channels on the 15, and then I go back to the other coins, and I don't bother to change it back. It's just a weird thing, I guess.
No, it works for you. So that's the only thing that matters.
But no, for most, since most of you guys probably use candles, I need to remember that to whenever I am explaining stuff to maybe switch to the candles for a second. One more here. Lido. I like this token. It's very volatile. I actually shorted it up here during the competition, but closed it way too early. I don't know if you remember me telling you about that, Dylan, but man, it's like if I would have just held that thing, so annoying. Yeah, so Lido, this 160 region looks so good. Like it just, if we can get there, I think like what you said, Dylan,
it's a screaming buy zone that
yeah. So yeah, I mean that's amazing. Like if we can get there, I have my eyes on it, but if we can get a bounce here and at least come back up to the 618, it's a 24% move. So keep your eyes on Lido. I've got my eyes on it. It broke the 618 here, or the 786 yesterday. I'm sure there was a lot of, and that was the thing I noticed too, like this break a trend. That's why you guys always got to be careful too. When you see the break a trend, You think it's the retest, you long it, and then boom, it's a surprise candle. It just takes you out. So that's also why it's important to have your stops, but set your alerts there. I think that's it for now. Something as far as what I'm looking at.
So Mike says Lido is his nemesis. Look, it's okay to have a nemesis token. It's okay to have one that you hate.
Oh yeah,
it's totally fine.
we have all those tokens that we hate. Don't trade them. But that's what's the beautiful thing about crypto is there's so many altcoins to trade. Just stick to the ones that you're comfortable with and that you have a good, win to lose ratio. And yeah, just play the 3 or 4. I mean, these are the 3 or 4 I'm looking at. Injective render, Lido. I am looking for that OP retrace and then to reshort it here. I think that would be nice. So like what you were saying, coming up here, it's pretty risky to take the long, I think. But if you wanted to be a degen and long it, right up here, take your profits and then switch short and write it back down to.
Yeah, look, on paper it looks right. That's that exact bearish play. I mean, at some point when the move's bearish, you get a bounce. It's just like when things are bullish, you get the pullback. You get a 618 or 382 pullback, and it's the same thing. So if things turn bearish, it's not always a straight line. You get those bounces to play, and then you nail your shorts at these resistance zones. So yeah, I mean, that would be a classic play, right? Long into short. You just need one token in your life, right? Look at that thing. I like that. I like that a lot.
10% move up and then 24% move down. This would be this, in this scenario would play out. And you remember, what if this scenario is to play out, then what's Bitcoin going to do in that? And I think Bitcoin would basically come up here and have another SFP, maybe up to the daily at 30,000, which makes sense, right? So if we have this SFP down here, we go up to the daily 5% move. 5% move would basically give OP that 10% move, give or take, and then SFP at swing failure at the 30,000 level, and then we just write it all the way back down here.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, David, can I point out something that I really appreciate that I think people should love is you'll notice in David's charts, he doesn't just plan a move, take the trade, and go off to the next token, but actually we'll plan. It doesn't always work out, I'm sure, but we'll plan one move which leads into another move, just like you see in front right there, a long that turns into a short. And by doing that, you start to really get to know those patterns. So I just want to say I really appreciate that, dude. It's really cool.
Yeah, no problem. And that's why I appreciate this community and Dylan and the extra work that he puts into these charts, because I mean, whenever we saw this, none of this were under this cursors, none of this existed here, right? Yep. I never took the 88 trade, I never wrote it long, but as soon as it got to the area and we started to see how it was just struggling, that's where I made that call. It's like, you can literally put your stop right here and look at that wiggle room. I mean, that's so safe in my opinion. And then you write it down. 11%.
And it's the same way we would play the longs off a good support zone, guys. And shorting's not for everybody, shorting's it's quite a mental or difficult thing to do mentally. But that exercise that Chris taught us a while ago about inverting the chart just helps you get your head around it a bit. Jay's also an excellent shorter. I know Jay loves a short.
I do too.
And he does it well. We actually need a Jay lesson on how he attacks these shorts and things. But it's a mental thing, hey Jay.
Absolutely.
Any tips there? Any tips for anybody?
So for now, as I've said in the last 2 weeks, is that if we just look back what happened from January to October last year, when we were in the downtrend, the Bitcoin was following the stock markets, the US stock markets. And I'm starting to see a similar thing now. And what I saw yesterday was that the stock market was potentially, based on the futures, was going to drop at the opening. So I looked at different altcoins that were at resistance. Remember, when you long, you want to long at support. When you want to short, you want to short when coins are at resistance. So I identified Solana at that $25 resistance level, and I went into a short in Solana yesterday. And luckily it played out, because as soon as the stock market opened, it started dropping, and that resulted in Bitcoin dropping. And then the alts obviously dropped much quicker than Bitcoin, and that played out nicely. So if we are going to start losing levels in Bitcoin, and it is going to start following the stock market very closely, I would imagine that you need to look at stock market based on what stock market is doing, and based on where the alts are that resistance. Those are the areas obviously you need to identify and then start possibly taking a short from there.
Yeah, and again, you know, you want a short strength. So maybe that's why it's difficult sometimes, because the candles turn green and you get this euphoria and you get excited and you think it's going to go more, and then you start second guessing yourself. And it's the same thing when the market's dumping. These are your opportunities. You grab those nice areas and you get those longs. And you need to treat the shorts exactly the same way. You got to really take that emotion out of it when you see those green candles. It's very easy in crypto, guys, to get excited. I mean, we see these green things, we love it, we get bullish. It's great, but you need to be so disciplined. And again, you know, if you find that button to invert the charts, guys, you must do it. And take advantage of the Discord, the Banter Discord charts. I put them in there every day. There's some gems in there. There's some great levels. There's some great areas to look at and to practice. And then, you know, do what David's doing. Just copy these charts and then take other alts that you work with. You'll see they play out similarly. Pull the fibs from the same dates, you know, from the same June fibs to the high, you know, that we got in whenever it was July. Do the same thing on your own alts. Pull out the 200-day MA, pull out the 50-day, see where these things are lining up. But yeah, just use it for education, guys. It's there. I do it every day. I'm going to dump some more in there now.
And another reason why I like shorting, guys, is that there's a saying in the markets that the bulls climb the stairs and the bears jump out the window. So what we mean by that is that in an uptrend, it takes a long time for it to play out to a certain level, to resistance, for example. Whereas when we drop very quickly. So bulls obviously go up, take the stairs very slow, but the bears jump out the window and it comes down very quickly.
I love that. That's good.
They have gravity on their side. I love it.
Absolutely. Dylan, I've done a bit of analysis around the Bitcoin dominance when you finished on higher time frames. And you want me to show you now?
Yeah, sure. While you get that out, Craig is asking, where are the charts in the Discord? It's the Banter Discord. There should be a link around here, guys. I'm sure. Otherwise, we need to drop it in here again. But it's the Banter Discord.
It's in the school Discord. The link is in school Discord.
Okay, so go to the school Discord, get the Banter Discord link. It's under Sniper Setups.
Yeah.
If you're using a school link or a Banter link, you have access to the VIP stuff. And I drop those updates every day.
Man, we're getting a strong bounce on objective, guys.
And Jay, while you're on there, Ryan wants you to show how to invert the chart. So
okay, I'll do that. So it's this little cogwheel on the right hand side of the bottom here, and you click on invert scale, and you can see it inverts. So it's that little cog at the bottom there, invert scale. So what I'm looking at is the Bitcoin dominance on the weekly time frame. When the dominance is in an uptrend, it means cash is flowing out of the alts and into Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's outperforming the alts. And you can see we've been in an uptrend since November last year, where we came from an area around about 39.5, and we're currently at 50.47. But more importantly, we have been in a range since May 2021, and that range has been between this blue 39.5 and going up to 49. So we've been respecting a range for almost, what is that, sort of 2 years. And we have recently broken out of that range. That was on the 12th of June to the upside. Okay, so we've gone to the upside. We've come down to retest the bottom here. That was, when was that? About 3 weeks ago. And we're starting to move up now. So my thesis is, if Bitcoin starts losing levels here, if we start losing the 200 moving average on the daily on Bitcoin, or the 20 moving average on the weekly on Bitcoin, that is really deemed going into bear market again. And when I say losing, I'm talking about losing on high time frames. I'm not talking about 1 hour, 4 hour. I'm talking like if we start breaking down on the weekly and opening and closing candles below those levels on the weekly, that is really going to bear. And obviously altcoins will drop quicker than Bitcoin if Bitcoin starts retracing. And that normally means that the liquidity is getting sucked out of alts and is potentially going into Bitcoin or into USDT, but the alts drop quicker than Bitcoin. Therefore, the dominance will carry on going up. Now, based on this range that we've been in, and if I take into consideration technical analysis, we could potentially have a target here going up to sort of 60%. So if I take the info line and I measure the range that we were in for the last 2 years, and then put it onto the breakout at the top of the range, we can see that we're coming up to a level of around about 60%. Okay, so that's one indication that potentially where we could go to. If we go and look at history and go back and see the dominance, and you can see, yeah, the 60% level is very, very important as far as support and resistance, where we've had here in 2020 it acting as support, and if we go back to 2018 it was acting as resistance. So 60% is very important level. If we take a fib level and we put the fib on the high of December 2020 down to the low of September 22, look where the 618 is, 60.35. So what is telling me here is that the alts are going to continue to bleed until this dominance gets up to around about 60%. And I expect a rejection in that area around there. It won't happen immediately. I think we'll be spending some time here. But for me, this is now going to be the area where I would start laddering into alts for my long term. I wouldn't be laddering in right now until we get up into that area where I would start laddering in. Guys, just remember, this is based on Bitcoin starting to lose levels. Okay, I'm not saying it will play out, but this is just a high level view of what potentially could play out based on a support resistance level, a TA target based on that range, plus the 618 up in this level here.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. I mean, that makes a lot of sense what you're saying. So it is something to be aware of. So if you want to fill up your long-term bags, like Jay's saying, keep this in the back of your mind as an option that could play out. So if you're unsure, maybe do a portion now, or a portion staggered up into these areas, because like Jay's saying, this is a scenario. It might never happen, but it could happen. So just be aware of all aspects and all scenarios when you are making your decisions.
You did ask a question, when was it? On Monday, around this gap that we saw in the dominance. Was it Monday?
Yes, there was a random
So this gap,
yeah.
Okay, so what happened? Yeah, apparently trading views add extra coins now. I don't know what coins there, to the total market cap. And this caused the dominance to break to the downside. So we have a look at the total market cap on the same date, the total 3, I think it was. You see the gap here. So total 3 had a gap to the upside. So what that meant was that a whole lot of alts have been added to this number here, and that pushed this figure up to the upside and caused this gap on the total and the dominance to come down. Hopefully they can fix this up.
Yeah, that It did look a bit scary the other day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks, Jay. Thanks for that. Legend work as usual. Guys, I'm just dropping the last few charts in Discord. I've just dumped XRP in there. I've dumped ZIL, Gala, Casper's been added, Injective. Let me show you guys the Discord quickly.
If you get a chance, could we do Sol? People are asking about it.
Yes, we must definitely do Sol. Okay, so guys, here's the latest update. This is the Discord for those of you that don't know. Here's all the charts that I do. Happy and open to suggestions and ideas. Maybe we must get rid of some of the old ones, add some fresh ones in here. This is Injective here that I'm going through now. You can see if you're watching the Discord, this area was identified a few days back already. We had it there. So all you need to do, track the Discord, look at these zones, and then, there it is. I think that's the one from today, bouncing off in that region. So it's all there for you. I'm nearly done. There's probably 4 or 5 left. So yeah, maybe log in there now and start looking. Let's do Solana.
Thanks.
Yeah, we need to get Lena on those charts on the Discord.
Lena, yes, you asked me. I did quite well on Lena on the weekend. That thing pumped quite hard. Okay, you got my XRP here in front of you. Very boring stuff. Just playing that support. Okay, Sol. So Sol for me was interesting because it was the trend in play.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had a 786.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's the 786, and then we had a kicker. Here's the kicker. Kicker was the 50-day MA, basically propping up the price. So it looks like a nice area to me. If we start losing that trend,
I think you have an order block hanging around down there too.
yes. So there's a couple, and it depends on what time frame we're looking at. The
200 1 hour's
day
got
is
one right down in support. There's a 1 hour one.
okay. So I'm going to show you the 1 hour now. Just guys, just remember, the 200 day is still probably one of my favorites. There's also an order block here, and the 200 day. We know what these alts do with the 200 day, so keep that in the back of your mind. Maybe short-term bounce stuff. Let's see what we have.
Could go up to 24, the Dylan. 23.88.
Okay. To be precise. Okay, so yeah, and that makes sense, Jay. Straight into this horizontal.
Yeah.
So that's where Jay's going to be looking for a short, I can guarantee you. So Jay's short zone will be here in that area. So if we can get this bounce off the 50-day MA, the 786 fib, and the trend, look for a TP over here. Or if you bearish, that's probably a great short area for Jay, I think.
Absolutely.
Bruce, this is your order block here. Is that what you're talking about on the 1 hour? Or was it higher up? I remember seeing one a little bit higher.
I got a 1 hour one that's at 22.51.
Let's see. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, good.
Okay, it's there. So guys, these are, it's not tying in perfectly. I mean, imagine we had the order block there and the 200 day. I would have been like, sell the wife. Let's send the Solana, but we can't. Okay, so there's a few steps on the way down that you need to just be aware of. So, don't ape in, don't throw in the whole bag. But it is a potential bounce area, and you know why. We've given you the reasons. And then the order block and the 200 day next areas to watch. Again, 1 eye on BTC, please.
Yep. Cool, thank you.
Okay, cool. So yeah, guys, I hope that's cleared up the Discord. Shall we do one more?
I got a question.
Not happy.
How big an order did you take on Injective, David? Because it's the only thing that's turned green.
Say again.
Maybe
How did
market
I
board.
say that again? Sorry.
I was going to say the only thing on my list that turned green is Injective. So I was just wondering how big a whale you are. That order.
Well, I took
It could have been half the chat.
Three and
No,
a half
it's
billion dollars.
hopefully that can put me in the, you know, get some good profits again. But yeah, it's a comp trade as well, injective
Okay.
that I took. So I put a
Cute.
pretty big size there.
There you go. You pumped the price.
He
Okay,
did,
nice
he
one.
did. I
Yeah.
see it.
I pumped the whale Telegram group.
Yeah, there
David,
you
thank you.
go.
Appreciate that. We appreciate the pump of the price.
Thank you.
Okay, last one. A comp. We did look at comp. You
Yeah.
see, Injector reacted off the 618, as you've seen
Yep.
quite nicely.
Yep.
So I'm expecting something similar from comp. Obviously, I could be incorrect. We remember how comp performed before. I think the 618 here and the 200-day as a combination could give us a nice move. I'm not sure where we are with order blocks,
Right
but this
there.
is one of those entries we waited patiently for, and we thought we weren't going to get. So, you know, here it is. It's almost there. It's almost in the magic box. Okay, I don't have order blocks in there, guys. But what I do have is a 618 and a 200-day MA. And that's normally quite a good area. We've got horizontal here too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so not the worst. Yeah, not the worst play. Let it drop in if you can get a tight stop in there. But it might be nice. And then these descending wedges often play out nicely. There's your resistance there to watch.
Yep.
54 is your first sort of stop if it gets going. If things turn sour, you know where we're going. Comp isn't in the Discord. I'll drop it under. There's a general chart section there. I'll drop this comp in there now, in the Discord for you. Okay, cool. Everybody, we'll see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Good luck out there.
Be safe.
Be safe. Risk
Be
management.
safe.
Don't ape in. Don't kill
Yep.
yourself.
Yep.
I mean, in the charts, in the exchanges. No, it's tough out there, you know. Choppy
Yeah.
markets, scalper's dream, 2%, 3%. Take your profits. That's probably the best way to play it. I mean, I've been guilty myself of trying to ride things too long. I got stopped
Mhm.
out of GMX after being well in profit with a very nice
Yeah.
size. I've got nothing to show for it now. You know,
Yeah.
GRT I was in. I sat in it for days, didn't close it. Okay, now we pay the price, we get the pullback. So Craig's words were very wise the other day. And listen to Craig,
Yes.
listen to Jay as well. You know, take your 3%, take your 4%. There's another trade
Mhm.
tomorrow.
Yep.
Okay.
Take your profits
Everybody.
before anybody else takes it.
Yes. Correct.
I-
Correct.
I love your aphorisms. Yes.
Listen to the wise men. Okay. See you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Good luck out there.
Take care,
Ciao,
everyone.
ciao.
Take care, guys.
Ciao, ciao.
Great session.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Chris.